Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Homfransen, Executive Director of the Asian American Advertising Federation, also known as 3AF. We are the primary go-to resource when it comes to Asian advertising, Asian marketing, and the power of the Asian American consumer. During this COVID-19 pandemic, we have put together a series of virtual webinars to help our community and also to show the impact the virus has on Asian Americans. All of the webinars are posted on our website at 3af.org/corona, and you're welcome to visit those. And we will be adding additional webinars on a regular basis, and we hope you have time to tune in and participate. Today's topic is working from home, how 3F members are getting it all done during COVID-19. I'm pleased to introduce to you our guest speakers. First, we have Cheryl Lee. Cheryl is Executive Director of Intertrend. It's an advertising agency in Long Beach, California. And also we have Javier Ortiz. He is General Sales Manager of KTSF-TV in the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome.
Hi,
thank you
for having us.
You're welcome.
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad that we have today a media perspective as well as an agency perspective. And so my first question, Cheryl, you can go first. I want to talk a little bit about before and after. Can you share about your work experience before shelter in place and now during? I imagine you work at an agency, so you were pretty much in the office all the time. Is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because in reality, we are already 7th week in work from home. I think no one expect that, and it's just happening naturally. I think for us, and especially particularly for me, before the shelter in place, we usually have a more routine hours because it's an agency. We do have Monday to Friday, 9 to 6. Of course, agency provide a little bit more flexible hours. In the end of the day, it's really your responsibility and deliverable. Because of that, and kind of give a more a structure. Oftentimes, I think for me and some of my team as well, we do have some offsite, out of town business trip in the meeting, probably accounts to 10 to 20% of your time. So right now, before the shelter in place, we also spend more time in the agency because for agencies, culture is also important to allow team members to engage, to collaborate and integrate.
Yeah.
So face-to-face communication has always been important based on agency culture. And that's also the reason the culture is so important based on the people in agency. So during this shelter in place, I have to say it was quite different, but it's not too painful, I have to say, because from agency perspective, we're pretty equipped from technology and also the supports we have. So during the shelter in place, the very first few weeks, was challenging for everyone, kind of chaotic. A lot of clients ask questions. Agency side, we have to provide our POV and even response, no matter its recommendation, how to navigate through this unprecedented pandemic, or to help the client to adjust their messaging strategy. So I would say first few weeks, I think everyone is trying to work under the emotion, but at the same time, really try to help the client to navigate through. Now, I would say shelter in place allow me to have a better schedule because I kind of know what's the best way. I have a morning routine, try to be as standardized as possible. And that kind of keeps me kind of focused. And second part is I still kind of have my dedicated work area and also dress for success, because for me to put on the right clothes and to make my mindset feel like I'm at work, that helped me a little bit. And that's how I kind of navigate through to have my own schedule during the shelter in place.
Super, super. Javier, how about you? I know in sales, you're probably out of the office a lot, meeting with clients, but you're also in the office. So how has it been for you with shelter in place?
Well, I think, for myself, it's very similar as far as what Cheryl was saying, as far as just getting used to a whole new routine. I think one of the first things I have is, as far as, trying to really keep yourself motivated and keep yourself focused, of saying, you know what, I'm working, I'm not at home. There's a lot of things that have to get done. And I think that's one of the things that I put together when I put my slides together, as far as always trying to make sure that we keep ourselves to dress to impress, and to make sure that we're on a call like this, that we're not feeling like we're presenting ourselves in the wrong way. So I think that's the big thing. But I think I'm still putting in, before it was 8 to 12 hours a day. It was basically communicating internally to assist the team. I think that was where I kind of had that one-on-one with some of my salespeople. But surprisingly, half my team is already remote. So I was somewhat more prepared for this because I have some really great sales people that represent us on the national side. My national sales managers in LA, because we're based in San Francisco. But then I also have a couple other, 2 or 3 other representatives for KTSF that sell for us within different areas all throughout the Bay Area, because the Bay Area is so large. And so they're not really in the office as much because they're out on calls. And so it's just a little bit more efficient use of their time to do that. So I'm already doing a lot of things half remotely with them, where I'm on the phone with them, I'm emailing them, we're texting each other. So it didn't really feel too different for me because I was already doing it with half the team. So that's what was going on. And then of course, you have work, and then you have your normal routine of going to a gym afterwards to let out some stress and have some, take care of your health. That's no longer a possibility right now. And then of course, family time for everybody after work. Right now, it's always family time in between what you're doing with work. So I guess that's really a positive. But I think one of the things I put in place was that during, I have a slide that says before shelter in place, but now shelter in place, it's really a matter of maintaining your sanity, because Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every day can feel like the same day if you're not careful. So you feel like you're doing the same exact thing. And so, but now the full team is remote. And that's the big difference for us. And so our weekly sales meetings are by phone. I'm not having that one-on-one interaction with my research manager or my sales assistant or the rest of the team or the studio or the news director or anyone else that we're trying to bring into the studio. We can't do that anymore. And we can't do any type of live shoots or live interviews with different folks that we work on, as far as we have some different talk shows. We don't have that interaction, which it's unfortunate, because we really do enjoy working with our clients and bringing them into the studio and having that opportunity to work with them, and also going to their place of business to also do some type of interview, to do some kind of show. So we don't do that. But our department head meetings are all weekly. They're all by phone. We have our weekly, daily strategy meetings with the team, and that's all by phone. There's no longer that personal interaction. Doing my daily inventory, my order reviews, the logs, looking at revenue reports and research, and just working on ongoing client projects. All that's done by my computer, and a lot of that's done by phone, and a lot of that's just being in the moment and being available for my staff and for anyone that needs me. Sometimes I'll get one phone call, I'll hang up, and I'm getting another phone call right after that. So I really got to keep my phone charged at all times, make sure that I'm accessible, because I tell my team I'm available 24/7 for whatever they need. And that's really the case, because sometimes things go after work hours and I'm always available. So that hasn't really changed at all, but it is a different dynamic that we're working with right now.
Yeah, definitely. So you mentioned computers. I want to turn now to sort of tips and strategies for using technology. Obviously, we're using a relatively new platform, finally picked it up. But what about GoToMeeting or just traditional phone calls and texts and emails? How are you communicating and using technology while you're at home? Cheryl, I'll turn that over to you first.
Yeah, I think, like I mentioned, I think very first thing, it's important to have a great Wi-Fi. It's very basic, but I think it's so important. And not everyone, has this high-speed internet at home. So I would recommend try to make sure you do have a great Wi-Fi to begin with. I think for agency, we all have a laptop to begin with. It's very easy for us to work remotely. Technology-wise, our agency, very beginning, we already have an internal kind of a Slack. It's almost like a text-based communication tool, allowing the team to kind of like instant messaging, kind of connected people. It doesn't require just a phone call, but sometimes it can easily transit to an audio call or a video call. And through Slack as a platform, it's almost like a virtual community. So we do have those kind of Slack channel, allowing agency to do announcement, update for everyone to keep them in the loop. We also have a small team Slack channel. We also have a fun random facts, to share about around COVID-19. So again, still create this kind of office kind of environment, but virtually. So Slack is very important kind of communication software tool we use. And beyond that, we also use Google Drive. It's important, and especially when we need to collaborate to develop an innovative proposal, deck, because life goes on. we still need to continue our work. And the challenging, like I mentioned, we rely so much to face-to-face communication. Right now, we can still, but virtually, but a lot of times require some stimulation idea. So how we do it, we use those kind of technology allowing us to collaborate at the same time. We can see each other to update, to edit. We can drop the notes to each other to make a notification. It has been working out very well, especially, you know, during this period of time. We still go through some kind of business meeting, different new pitch. So I would say it's really wonderful to have those technology. But one thing is also just like, you know, Javier, you mentioned earlier, when there are so many technology, it can get overwhelming. So recently, I think there's a trending hashtag called Zoom fatigue since March. So everyone's talking about it because every day you kind of engage with yourself in front of your computer, in front of your camera. So you get very, very tired, exhausted. So I think that's also something to watch out. So my strategy is try to balance that. Sometimes you don't have to always rely on video conferencing call. Traditional phone call or email can still work. I think with our clients, because most of our clients are out of state. So right now we don't really have this in-person meeting. So we have to continue our life. So usually we kind of go in conference, phone call, email. So those still continue going. So far, it's not painful. It's seamlessly transition very well. Since our client also work from home, so we all understand. And also their life and work balance as well. Again, Javier, to your point, to keep everyone sane and still focused and productive. I think that's really important. Use the right technology, but still balance your own life as well.
Yeah. So Javier, would you agree with that? Especially in sales, you have to know how to reach out to your customer and clients and, you know, get a response. What's working for you?
Well, I think the same thing, a lot of things that Cheryl mentioned as far as making sure that when we're having technology at home for our team and for our staff, you know, it's really important to have a good laptop. And have good Wi-Fi. That's key. But then I think our engineering team has really set up what we call our VPN, our virtual private network, because there are a lot of sensitive materials that go in and out of a TV station. And working with our news team and working with our engineering team and working with the overall building on making sure that we protect what's going on inside of our TV station and all the different communication that we want to get out. That's a really big important thing. But as I mentioned before, having a good mobile phone service, making sure that you are available and accessible. I think one of the other big things is to let our team know that when you go out of the office where there's a little bit more protection within the walls of the station, you're going to have more people. And I think I was reading an article that there's more hackers out there than there ever have been before because everyone's working from home. So I've even noticed that there's been fraudulent emails sent my way, a lot of phishing techniques where they're trying to grab information or they're trying to take over your computer. And I've had that happen probably 3 or 4 times. And then there's been other people on my staff that have had it happen multiple times. I even think someone tried doing that with some other organizations. And so that's something to let the team know that if something doesn't look right, don't click on it. Ask, send it to our engineer, have them take a look at it first if you feel that something isn't coming from a protected source or a normal person that you would usually do work with. And so that's something really important. I think limiting your traffic on non-work related work sites, websites. We do a lot of research when we are trying to find out more about our agencies or find out more research on how we're going to position our strategy with a certain client and doing that research. And so making sure that we're doing that, but not going off and going on non-work related sites that don't really pertain to what we're trying to do with our work function. And I think the biggest thing, like myself, I think I have 2 areas in my home that I consider my safe, quiet work areas. That I think it's really important to have that because you want to have a really important meeting as we're having right now. But there are people that do things throughout the day where you have the gardener that wants to come in and do work on the outside, or you have the pool company that wants to come in and do work, and you have dogs barking. It doesn't really sound, it happens, and it's something that you just got to deal with. You just kind of laugh about it and move on, but just trying to find the best way possible to have a safe, quiet work area. And the other thing that we like to do is to make sure that we limit our VPN work later in the afternoon, because that's really a big time. Our evening news is really big for our audience, and we don't want to have anything that puts any extra pressure on our network. So we can use our own phones to do some research, or use our other work computers, or using our own personal computers for anything maybe after 3, 4 o'clock. That will help our team that's in the newsroom, that's preparing our newscast for that evening. That's the other thing that we're really conscious of as a team. So that's how we utilize our technology at home for our sales staff.
Super, that's interesting. I want to ask you a little bit more, both of you, about managing clients and also managing teams. It's just like you said, a really challenging time, difficult. We're all getting used to it. We're 7 weeks in, but it's still hard. So do you have any advice and tips for clients and for motivating employees and your team members? Cheryl, I'll throw it to you first.
Okay. I think, like I mentioned, with clients, we do have quite many out-of-state clients, so we kind of manage them even through different time zone. Right. So I think in general, agencies are very used to work with client virtually. Now we just need to continue to engage with them, but also put a little bit more consideration, understand where they at. Because now our client has to be staying home. They have kids running around in the background. So sometimes we need to be more sensitive. And we also try to navigate through clients' preferred schedule. So I think from agency side, we always try to support our clients. And client, they also have their preferred like kind of communication tool. Like we also mentioned, they have security concern. So sometimes we have to use different kind of tool, no matter it's a Skype for Business or even like a Microsoft Team. So we have to equip. So I think for us, we always navigate through based on client's preference. So working with client, I would say it's kind of continuation. And we've been doing very well since that's how we have been. We base locally in Long Beach and also another office in Plano. So looking into about team and our own kind of environment, I think that's a little bit different. So right now, our team is all virtually working from home. I think we have to find a different way to engage with them. And also, more importantly, to boost the morale and still cultivate the culture. So how to do that? I think I personally have a few tips and I can share with you all. I think first of all, once we start the shelter in place, we start doing this kind of daily check-in. In the beginning, it sounds daunting, like who on the daily check-in? But in reality, you think about it, when you before shelter in place, you actually speak, engage with everyone in the office. No matter it's the water break room or even lunch room. So you engage people naturally. Now you probably have to do that. So we do this daily check-in with your own team. And it could be short. It doesn't have to be dragging more than 30 minutes. Everyone look at each other in the camera. But it's more kind of fun. So usually we engage like a 5 minutes to talk about non-work related topic. So what kind of Netflix show you binge watch recently? Is there any book you want to recommend? So kind of bring those kind of light environment into it. And for me, I found that it's very helpful and really allowing our team member to be engaged. Second, we do a lot of virtual team bonding and including virtual happy hour. So the virtual happy hour could be like, for me, with my team, we do usually Friday. So happy hour, usually we can bring our own favorite drink. We talk about why you like the drink. We drink together. We play the music we like. Now we're kind of rotating with the team member. Each team member, they probably will bring a skill to everyone. So they kind of showcase their skill we never know before. So for instance, I have team member to bake cookie at home. And then they kind of give us a cooking tutorial. I also have a team member who is a Pilates instructor. So give us a 7-minute workout at home, between the meetings. So those are wonderful. And I also found that those team building can bring people closer because right now we work from home. Actually, it's very intimate. It's very closer to each other because now you can see everyone's home. You talk at home as well. So this virtual team building, I found it's a very wonderful idea to continue doing that. Then other tips, I will say it's definitely to keep the spirits up. But at the same time, be sensitive about their time as well. So we're trying to encourage everyone. You can join those kind of social gathering, but you don't have to. You have a choice to opt out because to balance your life. I think those are all wonderful to engage with employee and something a little bit light, something a little bit fun. And especially during the pandemic, we have to also understand, people are going through a very difficult time. So reaching out to your colleague as well, I would say it's important. even though just a casual chat, 5 minutes, but allowing them to know you care. I would say to showing the kindness during the pandemic is important. Still continue building the relationship.
Right, super. Javier, what's your response? Do you?
I'm still stuck on the virtual happy hour. I might have to.
I know.
I might have to be a part.
Right?
I might have to jump in there, Cheryl, and maybe have some fun with you guys with the virtual happy hour.
Yeah,
so
we want an invitation. We want an invitation.
I love that. I think what Cheryl said as far as having a heart and caring, I use that word empathy. I think that's one of the biggest things as far as managing our clients right now. Yeah. Empathy, being flexible, being a true partner, sharing ideas, and having some community messages that they can put out there if they want to continue advertising on our air. If they have the funds for it and they have the means for it, then we are going to put them in a way that they are highlighted very positively to the community. We have different things where we've said, how to wash your hands better, how to avoid contracting COVID-19. Different PSAs that our promotions team has done a really good job on. And we have also put together some other things called KTSF Family, where we have different folks submit their actual videos to us of what are they doing to pass the time during COVID-19 and shelter in place. And we've turned those into some really nice 30-second, 45-second, 60-second pieces that we are promoting on air to change up, the normal, call response and response type of advertising that we usually do and branding that we do. And we have different advertisers that have taken a part of that. But I think the flexibility comes into play where you have some folks that are saying, you know what, am I going to use my final thousands of dollars to cover my payroll or cover my advertising? And you have to be understanding to that and be flexible to that. And I know some people would say, you know what, we're going to hold them to that 2-week cancellation notice or 4-week cancellation notice. And we basically said, these folks have been our partners through thick and thin, right, for several years now, many of our advertisers. And we are basically in the position to say, you know what, we're here to help you. And we've also given some free advertising to different advertisers that need it, right, for a month, for 2 months, for 3 months, and giving them some extra bonus commercials if they need it as part of their overall plan. So there's a flexibility there that you have to have and just really show them you're a true partner. And that's really, I think, the biggest thing to manage our clients and to make sure that we're doing the right thing. You can do the wrong thing, you can do the right thing, and we're definitely always choosing to do the right thing. So that's what we're trying to put out there. I think the biggest thing is to really let the team know, let our clients know that we're all in this together. This COVID-19 thing is unprecedented. It's something that we've never seen before, and we have to really all do our part to keep each other safe. And I think that's the biggest thing that we will really let the team know. We're really big about safety. We've gotten more masks for our reporters, that we are considered an essential business. And so our sales team can work remotely, but our news staff is actually in the building putting out news stories every single day that are going to help our community. So bravo to them to continue what they're doing, but we're trying to do all we can to protect them and to make sure that our KTSF family is well taken care of, and our product is put out there in a very good way to keep our community engaged and educated in different languages that we have that air on channel 26, on TV 26 with KTSF. And as far as managing my team, I think one of the biggest things is just to be positive. I speak to different sales members of my sales staff members every single day. We have our weekly meetings, and I think just being positive and letting them know that this too shall pass. Rainy days don't last forever. And, I think there's definitely, a bright light at the end where we're going to come out of this, and there's going to be happiness, and there's going to be probably some more social distancing rules in place, but we're going to get through this together. And I think making sure that I'm talking to them about their well-being, about their family, maybe less work talk and more about their family talk. And that's the conversations that I'm having with a lot of them right now. I have some different staff members that are going through some personal health problems with their parents, that they're taking care of their parents right now. And so there's something totally, completely different from just even COVID-19. So they're dealing with multiple things right now in their lives. And I understand that. I think you just got to lead and guide to help them find their success. And I think one of the big things is that when they do have their focus on what's going on, it's going to require more phone calls, more emails, and more text messages. Whereas before, they would be able to go and have a lunch meeting or a dinner meeting or have a person-to-person, a face-to-face meeting with their clients, which is so important in our businesses, having very good, strong relationships. And we want to maintain that and keep that going. So we may have to utilize Zoom more. We may have to use more FaceTime. So there's a lot of different ways that we're getting around that. But I think that's the biggest thing, is that our team knows and our clients know that we're here, we're empathetic, and we're understanding what their needs are. And we're just going to try to get through this as best we can for the next month, 2 months, or several months.
Yeah, I really like what you said about how we need to remember and remind everyone that we're all in this together. I mean, I think I saw something, 95% of the US, I call it under lockdown, but other people say shelter in place. 95%, that's unprecedented. So,
yeah.
You know, I have some friends who are dealing, like you said, with their parents, having to kind of be sandwiched in between, helping your kids, doing work, helping your parents. It can be stressful and chaotic, but if we keep in mind that we're all staying safe, and, you know, we will get through this and we'll be stronger because of it, I think.
True.
So I want to turn my last question now to any final advice on work-life balance. Both of you touched on it a little bit, but any more words of wisdom just to end us on a positive note? Cheryl, I'll turn it to you first.
Sure. I think we cover quite a lot, but I definitely think stay positive is important. That's why we all in this together. I agree with you. And under that notion, I think if we want to continue the work-life balance, and again, we don't know how it's going to look like.
Right.
After we go back to work, it's going to be the same, or are we going to rotating back to the work? How exactly change how we interact with different people, including client or even internal team? There are still so many unknown. I don't think none of us will have the absolute answer. But what I can really say is through the course, I definitely think it's important to define a boundary. So define a boundary to keep your life and your work as a focus, but at the same time, your mental health is also important.
Right.
So I think we should really focus on that. And those are the time for a lot of leaders to shine, because it's really for you to show the compassion and empathy. And a time like that, I think it's very important. So just short tips and a reminder, I think you do deserve a proper lunch. I still remember, even for myself, the very first 1 or 2 weeks, you didn't even find the break to have a lunch, because you feel like you're obligated to glue in front of your computer. You want to real time respond all the requests and the message. You are very anxious. You're almost in a panic mode. But right now we understand your mental health is actually crucial, important for the employer as well. So keep that in mind, have a proper lunch, schedule some time for break. I think you build the break in between the meeting. I think traditionally we always build a meeting 30 minutes, 60 minutes. I think now we need to be sensitive. Some meeting can be done in 15 minutes, and you can have some break room in between. And also, I think allowing yourself to balance between work and life, and I think you are allowed. And because a time like that, this is going to be very crucial for you to continue. Very lastly, I still want to focus on relationship building is the key. No matter how you build a relationship, maybe traditionally through phone call, continuing that, or relationship building now through video to bring people closer, doing that. I think we shouldn't kind of stop doing that just because we are socially, kind of distancing ourselves, but emotionally we can engage with each other. Again, go back to Jenny, you say we are all in this together.
Thank you, Cheryl. Javier, any last minute words of wisdom?
Yeah, I think many of the things that Cheryl said are right on point. I think for a work-life balance, I think one of the biggest things to look at is, you got to prioritize your work projects. You got to take the breaks, making sure that you're not just working and not taking any breaks is super important for your overall mindset and how you handle the stress that comes along with moving at such a fast pace sometimes. And some days are one call after the next or one project after the next that you're working with. But I think it's really important to relax after you work. And I'm not saying binge watch a bunch of TV after work, but I think it's one of those things where that's going to take you 6, 7, 8 hours of maybe time that you could be doing some other things. And I think that's one of the things you really got to look at is maybe read anything, do some crafts, do some puzzles, have fun. I think staying active is important. Riding bikes, visiting the park, walking your dog. spending time with your kids, eating healthy. I've been really into doing some workouts in the house that have been very helpful to just kind of relieve the stress, where you can do some push-ups or sit-ups or do some running in place or whatever it may be. All those different things can be helpful. And I think eating some healthy foods, I think a lot of folks have gotten into maybe doing some extra carb loading, and that just comes from being sheltering in place. And I think, you know, getting your fruits and getting your vegetables and making maybe nice healthy smoothies, all those different things have been very helpful for me to kind of balance things out a bit, to make sure that I'm getting my healthy side taken care of, but I'm also really focused on getting all my work done and being there for my entire team and for the entire station for whatever they need. So I think that's really important. I think mindset. I think you know, there's a big thing as far as always telling yourself is that we will win. We're going to stay safe. We're going to get through this. We're getting hit hard by all this. And there was a nice quote from Sylvester Stallone that I think people have maybe seen in the movie, but it's in all over different places of the internet. And I'm a big Rocky fan, so you know, those, you know, being a big tough guy movie and everything. But I think one of the things he said was, no one will hit you harder than life itself. It doesn't matter how hard you hit back. It's about how much you can take and keep fighting, how much you can suffer and keep moving forward. That's how you win. And I think that's the biggest thing that I always try to tell my team, is that we have to move forward. There's setbacks, there's different things that are affecting us right now, affecting not just San Francisco, not just affecting Los Angeles, but we have clients in New York, we have clients in Dallas, we have clients all over the country that we work with. But this is not just happening in the United States, this is happening globally. And so it's something that's real, and the folks that can come out of this strong mentally and physically are going to win. And we just have to do it for ourselves, because we are going to get through this. And I'm very excited to see when we look back and say, wow, we did all that and we are in a much better place now. But we went through some rough patches, but we got through it. That's the biggest thing, to that positive mindset that we're going to get through it.
Okay. Thank you, Javier, for ending us on a positive note. Really appreciate it. So that concludes our webinar. I want to thank our speakers, Cheryl Lee and Javier Ortiz. Thank you guys so much for your time. I also want to remind our viewers to visit the 3AF's website at www.3af.org. And also we have a special resources page with helpful links and tips on how to survive COVID-19. That is at 3af.org/corona. And lastly, I want to just say that we here at 3AF need your help. So we have created a GoFundMe page. If you'd like to help the 3AF continue to help our community, please support us through GoFundMe. Until then, stay safe and stay healthy, everyone. And we'll see you later. And thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.